I'm looking for yours so I can retweet it.
Hold on one sec.
My mic, I got feedback coming through. Do you hear the feedback? I don't know. I didn't change anything.
When I start over?
Yeah.
Exit out. Okay.
That's all. What about now?
Perfect.
Not here.
What if you took the mic out?
Say what?
What if you took like iPhone?
I could try to use it's like iPhone headphones.
Try that.
Hold on 1 second.
What's up, everybody? It's Product on Live. Doesn't always work right away. You gotta logistics, man. This is behind the scenes. This feedback. Where did they come from? Do I have to start? Oh, this might be why. Do you have close all your windows? Like you might have this open in 2 windows. Close all the windows. That's exactly why.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect. We're good to go.
We figured it out. Nice work.
Ruben Harris, welcome to Product on Live.
Thank you for inviting me, man. I appreciate it.
It is a pleasure. It is a long time coming. We both knew that this would happen.
100%, 100%.
Excellent. Okay, so here's where I want to start. You're from Atlanta originally?
Yeah.
You after college, in college you studied the cello.
Yep.
And then after you worked in Wall Street for a bunch of years, or as a banker. Then you moved to San Francisco and you broke into tech. And you wrote a post about breaking into tech that went viral. And I want to know, first, why did you move to San Francisco? Why did you want to break into tech? What was the appeal for you at the time? What were you?
Well, I was initially thinking that I wanted to go to business school and follow the traditional routes, which is like what people normally follow. But I read a post by Chris Dixon called "Climbing the Wrong Hill," that explains a concept called hill climbing, where essentially you're in a hilly terrain, and as you're walking, you climb up a hill, the view is a little bit clear, and you realize that you're supposed to be trying to climb the tallest hill, which is the highest hill that you could ever climb. But a lot of people aren't willing to climb back down the hill because they get a little bit comfortable. And so I felt that in the future, every industry was going to be driven by tech, and that when in the future, when goods can be digitized, the interfaces to them will be. So if I was going to navigate in that type of world, I would have to learn different skills. And a lot of people were scared to do that, but I wanted to restart and learn new skills. And so I quit my job and worked for a startup and left and followed that transition, because in the future, I wanted to do that.
And so, but before that, why did you even become?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to be an investment banker in school in general. I was a double major, business administration and music. I've been playing the cello since I was 4 years old. And as a classical musician, you often come in contact with business people. And my sister's violin teacher was a private equity executive at Cerberus. And he told me that investment banking would be the best place for me to start if I wanted to become an entrepreneur. So I taught myself financial modeling sent out 1,900 emails, crashed career fairs, and actually broke into investment banking that way because I didn't go to a non-traditional Ivy League school. So when I graduated, I thought that it was you graduate, you get your degree, and then you get the job. And I didn't realize you had to get your internship beforehand to break in. And so that's kind of like the model that I followed to get into investment banking. So I used the same template to break into investment banking to get into tech as well. So that's kind of it. Actually started from cello.
Right. And so before we get into tech, when people come up to you and say, "Hey, how do I break into investment?"
I tell them that investment banking is a good platform to do. It really depends on what you want to do in the future. The first thing that I ask them is what do you want to do long term? Um, and that if you want to stay in finance for a while, that makes sense. It's going to teach you a lot of skills, and I don't see anything wrong with that. But it really depends on what you want to do in the future. So I think that the process to get into investment banking really taught me how to get a tight understanding on my story. It really taught me how to push really, really hard and work on my presentation skills, on my nonverbal skills, and things like that. And so I'm really grateful for that process. And navigating within the organization taught me a lot about corporate politics as well, which is important to understand in order to succeed. And so, yeah, I think investment banking is good, especially for people that are coming from non-traditional backgrounds. I think it teaches you to work really, really hard. And something that I learned from investment banking too is that a lot of times, perception in general is really, really important. So you got to be aware of a lot of those types of things as you're moving forward. And so I could go into details about that, but
yeah, tell me more. Tell me more.
So when I first got into investment banking, my mother, she introduced me to a friend who coaches a lot of young men that are in group homes, and she talks a lot about presentation. So she says, like, when you walk into a room, what are the 5 things that you want people to think before you even say? What are the 5 adjectives that you want people to think before you say anything? And so, for example, let's say you want to be seen as a businessman, or let's say you want to be seen as a confident person. What does a businessman look like? Are you dressed like a businessman? You want to be seen as happy. Are you smiling when you walk in a room? So when you walk in a room, you want to stand out, or you want to be conveying your message before you even start talking. And so, and if you're not conveying that message, a lot of times you may be saying all the right words, you may be performing really well from a work perspective, but non-verbally you're communicating something different that could actually come back at you.
Mm-hmm. So, and what did you learn about corporate politics?
I'll give you an example. So, when I was in Chicago, when I first graduated, I was fresh. I used to wear a suit every single day. And as an analyst, you're a junior person. I didn't realize that the other junior people will wear button-down shirts with no suits on. And so me dressing up in a suit every day comes off a little bit arrogant, right? And that's not even what I was trying to do. I was just thinking, like, you dress the part that you want. So sometimes you got to learn, like, when in Rome, you have to kind of like act like the locals do, but still keep your core. So for example, like when I was in Atlanta, everybody wore a suit. And so if you're dressing with a button-down shirt, it could look like you're lazy. So you got to kind of like have a balance. So I think that the way you dress is really, really important. The way you present yourself is really, really important. And so that's something that I learned a lot. Probably one of the biggest things that I learned in investment banking.
So you moved to San Francisco with, no like major connections, no experience in tech.
So as I was getting ready to finish my 3rd year in investment banking, I was getting ready for my MBA and doing private equity interviews when I got tweeted by Balaji Srinivasan at Andreessen Horowitz, and he asked me what my background was, and I told him that I was an investment banker, and he said that we should get you into tech, and that's the first time that I had like seriously started considering.
And why did he tell you that? Why did he tweet you? Did you tweet something that was intelligent?
Yeah, so I actually it wasn't something that came out of nowhere. I saw the announcement that he was a partner in December of 2013, I believe it was, and I tweeted all the things that he was passionate about, and he retweeted it. And then once I saw that he was paying attention to what I was talking about, I made sure that all the tweets that I was talking about were relevant to what he was talking about. And then he started following me. And then I saw he was really, really passionate about Bitcoin. I started thinking about where I was based, which was in Atlanta. And I noticed that BitPay was out there. And so I got together with a couple of my friends and we started organizing Bitcoin 101 sessions in the area. And eventually we're like, we should organize a Bitcoin hackathon. And so when I tweeted that, people started hitting me up saying we should get the Bitcoin Stanford group involved. So my cousin's at Stanford and his roommate was a part of the Bitcoin Stanford group. And I knew that Ballsy ran the Bitcoin Stanford group. And so when I was like, oh yeah, absolutely, I want to introduce my cousin, Conrad, to Ballsy, that's when he sent me the message and everything followed up from there.
Cool. Okay, so you get this message from biology, and then what happens? You move to San Francisco. You're getting intact, but how?
Well, like so that's not even. So when I came out to meet Ballsy, it wasn't like specifically to meet Ballsy. My cousin was graduating from Berkeley, and I wanted to come support her. And so when I was like, okay, I want to go meet my cousin, I might as well meet him while he's out here. And also while I'm out here, I need to set up a bunch of other meetings as well. And so I started doing a lot of research on the real estate market in San Francisco, and I was like, if I'm going to live out here, I'm gonna need to have to figure out how to survive from a housing perspective. And I read about these mansions that people were living in, and when I was looking at Airbnb, I saw one that was described very similarly to one that I read about, which is how the whole Justin Rosenstein connection happened. And I discovered a house called Agape. And so when I asked them about the house and if I could stay there, they asked me a little bit about my background. And when I told them that I was a cellist, the guy's room that I was trying to rent in that house actually happened to be his mom actually happened to be a cellist, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you can absolutely stay here." And I knew that if I stayed in that home, that I would be able to meet the people that I needed to meet while I was out there, and that helped me build a lot of connections. And when I was ready to actually make the full move to San Francisco, I already had some warm relationships that were built up.
I remember at one of the first time I met you at a dinner, you had people's like Twitter names memorized. You're like, oh, you're whoever, K Sim, Beller, Beller. I mean, you like you did your homework. You like came prepared. You like lived in this.
Yeah, yeah. So like the way I met you was through Nate Jones, and so like I had read Nate Jones' article about navigating Silicon Valley before I even moved out here, and he started following me back early on, didn't know me, and my first week I told him, "Hey, I'm moving to San Francisco. I got a place to live for a month. I want to meet you." And Nate Jones is the type of guy. He was like, "Oh yeah, absolutely, let's do it." So I met him, and literally that same day he tweeted something out saying Ruben moved out here on a whim, like really talented guy, like I'm gonna look out for him. And then the next day he introduced me to you and Chris Lyons, because Chris Lyons was also from Atlanta. He just showed a lot of love. And so that's when I started learning that if you have a compelling story, which is something that I learned from interviewing with investment banking, complete strangers like will go out of their way to look out for you. And so that's when I started really doubling down on embracing my narrative, like really, really pushing on that.
What separates people who have a good story and can break into tech in Silicon Valley?
I mean, so having a good story gives you direction, right? If you know where you're trying to go, even if, so when I say, what do you want to do long term? Whenever somebody reaches out to me saying they want to break into technology, that doesn't mean, or breaking into whatever it is, that doesn't mean you have to know exactly what you want to do, but you want to have kind of like a guide to kind of navigate. And you could tell a lot about someone if they can tell their story within 30 seconds and make it all tie together. So you want me to tell you the story that I say right now?
Yeah, sure. Or the ones that you told them, or whatever works, whatever worked.
Okay, so before I'll tell my story, I think anybody that's trying to come up with a story should start off with a little bit about their background, what sparked their interest in whatever industry that they're passionate about, what they did to develop that interest in whatever it is that they're passionate about, who it is that they're talking to, and then why they're there today. And so there's a lot of things that happened in my life that I didn't necessarily plan, But as those things happened, I look back, they made sense. And so when I would tell my story, everything had to tie together. And so when people ask me, so how'd you get into tech? I'll say, well, I was born in California, which I didn't tell you here. I was born in Loma Linda, California, moved to Atlanta when I was 1. And I've been playing the cello for 24 years. So I started when I was 4 years old. And as you can imagine, as a classical musician, you have often come in contact with business people. And I met a private equity from Cerberus that told me that investment banking is the best place to be if you want to become an entrepreneur. So I did a double major, business administration and music, taught myself financial modeling, broke in Chicago, did that for a year and a half, went to Atlanta, did that for a while, I was getting ready for my MBA. Then biology reached out to me, and I left my job. And I worked for a healthcare company for free to demonstrate that I could actually do the work. And I took a computer science class online until I was ready. And then finally, I realized that in-person relationships are a lot stronger than online relationships. And I felt that if I can meet people in person, it would be much better for me. And I knew that if I can get the actual meeting, the coffee meeting, it would be game over. So, and when I talked to my cousin before making the new move to San Francisco, he said, if you feel like you're really supposed to be out there, you need to step out on faith. And if you step out on faith, everything's going to work out for you. And so, I moved out here and sent 5 emails to influential people every single day. I spent like 2 to 4 hours working on each email. You talked about doing your research. I knew every single thing about every single person I was talking about. Not just the person. I knew the industry. I knew the company. I knew about like the changes, the acquisitions, all that. And that's some stuff that I learned in investment banking through due diligence. So when I had the conversation, I would actually set it up so I can kind of like control the conversation and get them talking about themselves and build rapport and tie their story to my story so they could see themselves in me. And that really, really worked out in my favor.
You know what you learn in investment banking? You learn how to work really hard and not sleep.
Yeah, I don't sleep. I really don't sleep.
Have you always been that way?
So my mother, she works really, really late. And my father, he wakes up really, really early. And so I think I'm a combination of both of them. And I've been that way since I was a baby. My mom used to say I used to, stay up until midnight when I was a baby and then wake up again at 7 a.m. And even though when I was in middle school, I used to sleep in a lot. But my junior and senior years of college, as I was getting ready for my senior recital, I realized that I needed to wake up early in order to accomplish everything that I needed to accomplish. And so if you get up at 4 a.m., by 4 p.m., you've done a 12-hour day, right? Mm-hmm. By 8 p.m., that's a 16-hour day, and you still got time to chill. And for me, the way I get rest, or the way I tell myself I get rest, is if I go to bed 2 hours or any hour of sleep that I get before midnight, that counts as 2 hours for me. This is not something that I suggest to people. This is just something that I do for myself, and I'm actually thinking more about sleep. I probably should get more serious about sleep as I get older because I'm very serious about working out. But that's another conversation.
Yeah. So quick break, and this is going to be like an edited podcast. Don't worry about it. Do you have a glass of water near you? Because I just want to make sure.
I don't.
You want one, or you're good?
I'm good. Okay.
Sounds good. Mm-hmm. Hold on one sec. Let me. Not to rub it in, but
yeah. No, it's all good.
Going back to what I was talking about. So, I mean, I know you have, just from being your friend, I know you have a lot of big goals. Being a successful entrepreneur. Being involved in philanthropy and starting a nonprofit. What do you think ties these goals together? Like, why do you care about doing these things? Like, what is the underlying sort of motivation? Like, what do you believe about the world that achieving your goals will help?
I mean, I think that every single one of us has been given a unique gift. And I think it's really, really important for us to share that with the world every single day, because you never know when you're going to go out. And it's important to leave that behind. And whatever you leave behind should be something that moved your family forward in a positive direction, that moved humanity forward in another direction, something that you're proud of, something that you're passionate about. And like part of the reason why I don't sleep, part of the reason why I get so excited is because like I'm grateful to be here, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good answer. I mean, one thing you think a lot about is, perception. Obviously, you mentioned earlier 5 adjectives. What people think about you when you walk into a room.
Mhm.
What do you want people to think about you?
My 5 adjectives are confident, dedicated, happy, humble, passionate. So, if you work out and you walk into a room and you smile, you're gonna hit, and you have good posture, you're gonna hit the confident, dedicated, and the happy. Um, Again, going back to the way that you dress, which I know people think that is very superficial, but I think the way you dress is really, really important. If you dress in a professional way, but modest as well, I think you can hit the humble. The passionate is harder to do without saying anything, but I think like if you just walk with an aura, like you got that glow, people are gonna people are gonna be like, who's that guy or who's that girl? And so like I try to walk in that way. So when people see me, they wanna have a conversation with me, and not in an arrogant type of way. I'm I'm the type of person that if someone wants help, or if I can help someone, I'm gonna go above and beyond to do what I can to support them, as long as they put in the work too.
Yeah. And one of the things you mentioned is that breaking in, what you've done is just the beginning.
Yeah.
Why is how have you thought about post breaking into Silicon Valley and career advancement?
The way I got to that realization was when I got into investment banking before breaking into Silicon Valley. Um, when I broke into investment banking, I had worked so hard. So I taught myself. I actually did something called Breaking into Wall Street, which is another website that has a bunch of online courses that you could take to teach yourself. And so I went from 5 a.m. to 3 a.m. every night, teaching myself 233 videos, 63 spreadsheets to really, really understand the things above and beyond. And like after going through the whole process and breaking in, you're like, whoa, like I'm in here, like it's showtime. And so then as I was in Chicago, I had a really, really cool condo and stuff like that. And I was, making money, but then I got laid off. And then like I actually lost my hunger, even though that's not the reason why I got laid off. Um, and that layoff situation really taught me a lot about making sure you stay hungry all the time, no matter how much success you get. You got to keep your feet on the ground the whole time, no matter how much success that you get. Um, and the more access that you get, a lot of times you're tempted to only talk to people that have the same level of access as you do. But I think it's really, really important to never forget how it felt to break in.
Right.
That's going to keep you hungry.
And tell me more. Why do you think, uh, or why was the being laid off such a powerful experience for you? Like, what were you thinking at that time? And you know, tell.
I mean, again, that situation with the layoff taught me that if you have a compelling story, complete strangers will go out of their way to help you. Um, when I got laid off, I had to go back to basics, the same type of thing. 5 emails every day, get your story right, explain what happened, like figure out where you want to go in the future. Um, and it was right before the holidays, right? It was right before Thanksgiving. It was right before Christmas. My parents were proud of me, you know? And so for me, I didn't want to go to Thanksgiving or the holidays without a job, you know? And so, and it's not like a job defines me, but I felt that um, I'm on a mission, you know? And, and the people and the fact that I've been able to make it this far, a lot of people that looked up to me when I was growing up, that I got to keep that going and demonstrate that even when you get laid off, you can't stop. That's a normal part of the process. You got to trust your struggle. You know, so and I'll talk about trusting your struggle in a second. Like so every single situation that's happened to me, I truly believe was meant to be. You know, when I was in the car with one of my Lyft drivers, he told me, Ben, there's a lot of things that are outside of control. The only thing you could do is wake up with a smile, do your best, and watch the movie, right? And if you're doing your best every single day and things don't work out, it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't the right time. You keep going and you look back and you'll know. So
Yeah. So I mean, you wrote that breaking into tech post. Do you have another sort of, if you had to describe the next step in your evolution in a Medium post, how would?
So I didn't come out here alone. Um, so when I was in investment banking, I met other people that were like me, a lot of people that were hungry, and we actually moved out here together. And so those people, I feel like they're my brothers, and we have complementary skills. I knew, like, if you're breaking into somewhere where you know nobody, it's important to have people that you can lean on. And I knew that if things didn't work out, that I could crash on their couch, they could crash on my couch, and we could figure out together. So that's what my next blog is going to be about.
Cool, cool. And how do you think about this idea of, when you're here, what's like, are you building like skill set? Like, are you trying to learn how to code? Are you trying to like learn technical skills? Are you trying to be the best at, sales? How do you think about your own development and that in like in terms of skill development?
I think that's a good question. I mean, when you think about um, a team, everybody has their different skills. And for me, the people that I moved out here with, they wanted to double down on, you know, they're twins, right? So one of them wanted to focus on front end development. The other wanted to focus on back end development. They wanted to be the engineers. Um, but something that Bowsy pointed me to was class number 9 in Peter Thiel's CS 183 class for Stanford. Also in a book called 0 to 1, the distribution class, where a lot of people think that the best products sell themselves. And for me, and nothing's further than the truth. And so one of my natural gifts is branding, is getting things out to people, is selling, creating a vision, networking really, really hard. And so for me, I wanted to double down on developing what you just said, which is those sales skills, those business development skills, those marketing skills, etc. However, I do think that there's a lot of value on the technical side of things, and I'm still thinking through about where I want to double down. I think that a lot of people focus on the engineering side of things. I think that because I'm very right brain and very creative, that I might want to think more about the design side of things. Who knows? But we'll see. Like it's very high level. I think what I'm experiencing here at Honor and what I was able to experience at all school has allowed me to focus on the distribution side of things, on the operation side of things, and we'll see where things go from a technical aspect. I think it's important to be able to speak in that language, and I'm going to be able to speak to people that are technical. And that's what I'm focused on for now. Then, as far as like being an individual contributor from a technical perspective, we'll see what happens.
When you use the term success, who
Uh-huh.
is the person that comes to mind and why?
Who's the first person that comes to mind when I think of success?
Yeah, and why?
Um, I think about my father.
Tell me why.
After wait. Mm, 1 second. Let me get that water. I'll be right back.
Okay. What's up, everybody watching on Product Hunt Live? We're watching some good stuff. If you have any questions, please pop them to the. I see them on the bottom left, and I'm incorporating them and being inspired by them. So thank you for passing. Got some questions about diversity upcoming, about who he admires in tech. Larry, did I see? Yes, that is on my list too. Is personal board of directors. That is a good question. That's an interesting concept. I've often thought about mentors, but haven't thought about it in such a formal way.
All right. So my father told me that it's important to set yourself apart and to recognize that you're not defined by your stereotypes, right? Um, he's a very smart guy. He speaks 4 languages that he taught himself. I used to fight with him a lot, but he was always there for me. So let's talk about something else.
Yeah. How about in tech? Who are people that come to mind that you mentioned Balaji, you mentioned Nate. Who are some people you really look up to?
In the tech space, I really admire Justin Rosenstein. Justin has this philosophy called helping humanity thrive, where he says like if you focus on solving problems further down Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? If you really focus on solving a problem that really adds a lot of value to the world, not only will you make a big impact on humanity, but those industries are really big from a financial perspective, and you'll be able to put yourself in a really strong financial position to do a lot of positive things. And money is not in the end; it's a means to do a lot of positive things. So Justin Rosenstein is a good guy. I admire Elon Musk um, for his ambition.
Mm-hmm.
Like his ambition is on another level. Like when you think about 10x, when you think about 100, like taking things to the next level, like he's the type of guy where he focuses on, I'm going to create electric cars. I'm going to slash space costs by 90%, create reusable rockets at the same time. Right after PayPal, I'm going to reinvest all that money into the same thing. I got 5 kids at the same time.
The greatest entrepreneur of all time.
And I'm gonna leverage solar energy. Like what's up?
And
And
now,
make it look easy.
and recently, artificial intelligence.
And recently, artificial intelligence. I'm gonna announce summon for Tesla, right? And then in 2 years, you're gonna be able to summon your car from New York to LA. So, like, I respect that, you know. So, so he's a guy that I admire a lot. I admire who else that I think about a lot. Those are the first people that come to mind. I'll think about some other people later.
That's a good list. One of the things you mentioned in your Medium post is this concept of a personal board of advisors. Tell us more about that concept and tell us how, if someone came to you and said, "Hey, I want to have my own board of advisors."
Yeah. So this goes back to the whole thing that I talked about before. Like, what do you want to do long term, right? You asked me, what skills do I want to develop, right? So I think about what skills I want to develop. What do I want to do long term? What don't I have right now? You want to surround yourself by these people that have those complementary skills that are going to guide you and put you in a direction that you want to go, right? And so for me, no, I'm not going to go into what those things because, yeah. So I'll talk a little bit about it. So Justin Rosenstein, when I was staying at his house and he started looking out for me, I asked him if he wanted to mentor me, right? Can you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Let me decline that. Sorry. Um, okay. So I asked, the reason why I wanted him there is because any type of company that I start, I don't want it to be bubblegum. Or any type of organization that I'm a part of, I don't want it to be bubblegum. I think I've demonstrated that by being involved with Alt School and Honor. Both of those are mission driven. We're focused on really, really big things. We really, really care about the people. Like, I care about the people. And so anybody that's on the board, informally or formally, because you don't have to tell them that they're on your personal board of directors, should be someone that's like really, really looking out for you. They really care for you. It shouldn't be something selfish. So I think it's important to have people that are gender balanced. So I talk a lot about gender balance because female perspective and male perspective is really, really important. I think age diversity is really, really important. I think racial diversity obviously is really, really important. I think that if you're going to be starting an organization in the future, whether it's a nonprofit or a for-profit, it's important to have people that know how to teach you how to raise money. It's important to have people that teach you how to speak, something that I'm really working on right now, because I know I thrive in face-to-face relationships, but speaking on stage is something that I want to work on more. But at the end of the day, just think about what you want to do in the future and surround yourself by the people that are gonna help you get to that goal and that really, really care about you. Like this is like your family. And I think that you should cherish those relationships.
No, definitely.
No,
I mean,
definitely.
one thing you're talking about now, we talk about diversity.
Mhm.
What conception
Conception
people have around
around
diversity in the tech space?
What perception do people have?
Misconceptions. Like, what do people not get?
I mean, I think that a lot of people talk about how there's a lack of talent in diversity, but I fully disagree with that. Fully disagree with that. I think you're not looking in the right. I think that there's easy ways to move the needle in diversity, but you also have to have a balance. So, for example, you know, if we an easy way to improve diversity numbers in 2016 is hire lawyers, salespeople, biz dev people, marketing people that that have years and years of experience, and get them into the one and that want to get into tech, get them in there. However, you want to have a healthy balance of also making sure that we're hiring the engineering talent as well, or the technical talent as well, because you don't want to really, really double down on that and create a perception that minorities are incompetent technically. And so that's a balance that you gotta navigate. Another thing is as a creative myself, I think a lot about our creativity. And a good friend of mine, Melanie Araujo, she has an organization called Front and Center, and she recognizes that a lot of minorities are very creative. They are heavily contributing towards the entertainment space. I think that designers are actually just as highly regarded as engineers are, and that doubling down on that area, we have boot camps for coding. Why don't we create boot camps for design as well, right? So I think that's really cool. And there's other things. There's other things. So like the other thing is being aware that these paths exist. I didn't know what it took to get into investment banking. I didn't know that existed, right? It took me a while to figure out that type of stuff existed. And a lot of people that I grew up with don't know what tech is. They don't know those pathways. They know entertainment. They know athletes. They know music, right? But they don't know that, I don't know, Jay-Z's worth like what, $500 million, but this other guy's worth $1 billion, and it's not all about money, but there's other pathways. Like he says, there's a million ways to get it, right? And so if you want to get that message, if you want to get to an audience that you're not reaching right now, and it's just, we talk about different marketing channels. A lot of them are heavily influenced by music, and I think that we're starting to see a fusion of arts and technology, of entertainers investing in technology, and I think we need to go in another direction. We start double down and we start speaking to the people through the music. And as a musician myself, like that's something that I'm passionate about, and we're gonna be working on.
So, hold on one second. Let me mute you. Hold on. Tell me what you learned. Maybe that echoes in me. Hold on one sec. Hello? Tell me what you learned at alt school.
What I learned about alt school or at alt school?
At alt school. Like, what was one of the biggest takeaways?
That the kids are the future. And it's really, really important to set the example. I was involved in a lot of different areas, but working with the kids, they copy anything that you do, and you can learn from anybody too, even from a child, right? So that makes me think about when I was teaching cello lessons. Like I remember performing for one of the classrooms in art school, and I remember when I was teaching one of my kids, he was playing a scale, right? And he kept playing B flat. And as he was playing the scale, I kept telling him, it's be natural. It's be natural. But then I sat back and I watched him. And every time he got to that B flat that he was playing, he would slump his shoulders. So I realized that he actually got the message. He was just interpreting it differently. He was just being natural and chilling. And so like that, like we got to understand that you gotta learn how to stand in other people's shoes if you're gonna communicate effectively. And so I think when you talk about art school, I think the biggest lesson, the kids are the future. You can learn from anybody. Um, and also you get really really close with the parents and the families, and they really want to they really want their kids not just to learn, but they want them to make an impact in their community. And it got me really close with my family, um not just thinking about what they did for me, but also what I'm doing at Honor, which is like the second childhood. You know,
Yeah.
it made me notice that my parents are getting older, and like they helped change my diapers. I'm gonna probably have to help them in the future too. So
I mean, when you left school, take us through how you thought, your next step.
so um all school is a long-term play, they're full stack. Um and the vision is to create not just a network of schools focused on personalized education, but also a tech platform on top of it that other schools could plug into as well. Um, and that's amazing. And I was working for a school, and it was really, really awesome. But for me, I also wanted to work for an organization that was very software driven, that was going to be um, um, teaching me how to manage people and how to scale something very, very quickly in a short amount of time. Not to say that that's not going to happen at all school either, but I just felt that I wanted to stay involved with all school, um, but also work at somewhere that was software driven versus full stack, because I think it requires different skills, and I have to learn how to communicate with. I'm more involved with engineers now and things like that, but I'm still passionate about everything that's going on over there too.
And so, what inspired?
Um, it hits all the filters that I laid out in that first blog. You know, you got a team that's done it before. It's backed by a CEO that has the same problem himself. It's solving a problem for the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's Series B or below. It has a culture that's ethical. I think it's majority women in here that are working. I think it's also majority minority.
Yeah, man, you be sending me raps.
Yeah, man. I'm learning. I'm learning.
You guys are out.
I'm learning from you. You know, like I can I just see the change that we're making. Not saying that I didn't see the change over there. I'm excited to be here again.
So, a lot of people in the audience are asking, a lot of people, entrepreneurs, investors, what can they do? Like, if they're not working at Google or whatever, like they're not working at a place that can hire, what can they do on the?
Get involved in the community and help a lot from an access perspective. Again, a lot of times, um, a lot of times, as you get more and more access, this is something I was talking about with Charles Hudson yesterday. As a lot of times when people um, get more and more access, they only start dealing with people that have access. But you need to never forget what the struggle was in the beginning. But at the same time, the people that are going through the struggle got to recognize that the people with access, they have limited time, right? So you can't, like, as much as I love to hold everyone's hand, much as a lot of people love to hold everyone's hand, you also got to do work before you get that first meeting, like you talked about doing the research and everything like that. So when you come in there, you're like, okay, how much, like, what do you need from me? Okay, I'm gonna explain all the things that I could do to help you. You go run with that, and then come back to me, tell me what the results are, and then I could give you some more next time. You know, you can't be spoon fed the whole time. So my answer to that is just being in touch with the people and doing more. You
Yeah.
know. in those relationships, like you never know who that person is gonna be. That's another reason why I love helping people, man. I think the like one of the greatest things is like when you've mentored someone, they've turned into something greater than you. That's awesome. You talk about success. That's what I'm talking about.
I can feel it, man. And talk more a bit about like your diversity work. You know, you've with BPN and just what you've been out here doing.
Yeah. I mean, Charles Pridgeon and I, we got something going on February 18th at the Fusion Lounge, 6 to 9 p.m. And he and I have done a bunch of events with Michael Siebel Porter from Y Combinator, Porter Braswell, from Jopwell, Deshaun, and Danielle from Maven. We're talking to a lot of people. Like we wanna highlight people that are minorities that are like really doing things in the community. Not saying that people that are doing diversity, anything related to diversity is awesome. But like for us, I think that it's very, very important to not just talk about the issues in diversity, but like highlight who's doing things in the community that happen to be of a different skin complexion or a different gender, because then you have examples to follow. I think it's really, really important to have examples to follow. I think that is a way that we grow. Like you asked about the people that inspire me, and I've just mentioned some of them that I could have mentioned before. Um, but having those examples are really, really important. Of course, you're going to add your own twist to it, but showcasing them is really cool. And the other thing that's really cool about BPN is like we're not just highlighting people that are in tech. We highlight people in politics as well. You know, we got Edwin Lindo. We did an event with him with an organization called Creating a New Stereotype. Going back to presentation, he's identifying young boys and getting them to dress up in suits and walk down Market Street. How many black guys, how many Spanish guys you see walking down Market Street in a suit? Not saying that the suit defines the man or the accessories define the man, but you want to talk about nonverbal communication. When I walk down the street in a suit, somebody else walks down the street in a suit, they're gonna pay attention, right? Imagine 125 people that are also going through workshops and actually making a difference and pushing themselves to make something of themselves in the future. Like that's what they're doing.
You know what I'm talking about?
What?
I'm excited for in a year from now, 2 years from now, people to come back to this podcast.
100%, 100%. That's how I'm thinking about it. You know, like you are an amazing interviewer, man. And you talk about plus for me. Like I appreciate that you're down, like you're down to earth person. You're about the culture. And so I'm just again, I'm grateful to be here.
Thank you. I mean, this is a lot of my podcasts sometimes are about ideas and intellectual. Like this has been like I can feel it. This is like an emotional. Like we're talking about real shit. We're talking about people's lives. Talking about our own lot. Like I'm honored to be your friend, man. Like I mean, it's incredible. I'm like so excited for everything you're gonna do, for everything like we're all gonna do. Um, it's like it's an incredible time to be alive.
100%, 100%, man. And that passion is what's gonna drive us, man. Talking and so and that passion is what's gonna drive you through those brick walls. You gotta have that hunger. You're gonna run into brick walls, you know. And so that's why you hear me about to cry on this thing. I care about it, man. I really do.
It's your life, man. I mean, I'm I'm with you. I mean, this is everything. Like I'm getting emotional just like on this, man. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for being you. Thank you for doing what you do. Uh, it's important, man. I think it's inspiring, and I think same way that people were there for you, you and me, and other people are going to be there for other people, and it's kind of like a beautiful circle.
Yeah, man, 100%. And look, again, if anybody needs something, they can email me. My email is my name at live.com, ruben.x.harris@gmail.com. You can call me. You could tweet me. I'll answer. Not always immediately because I got a ton of emails now, but I will look out for you. Like if you see me on the street, say what's up. I'll look out for you.
You were how many sales calls you make in a day?
A ton. A ton. I can't even count. And then when I go home, I answer all the emails that people give me. You know, and it's not always immediate, but like I really don't stop, man. I don't.
You've been what's it called? You've been called like 4 times in this podcast episode.
You're right.
So cool, man. Lastly, where can people catch you on Twitter? And if any plugs for what you have upcoming in honor or anything,
So follow me on Snapchat. Snapchat is like, that's the new thing right now. And Snapchat is my name, Ruben Harris. Just Ruben Harris.
What can we expect on your Snapchat? What kind of snaps you? What kind of
You're gonna expect a lot of things that are related to routine and exercise. You're gonna hear a lot of a wise man once says. You're gonna see a lot of things about deep thoughts. I like to highlight things that I'm reading. I like to highlight the other people that are on my team, my family, my friends. You're gonna see us having fun. You're gonna see us on stage. You're gonna see us in the community. You're gonna see us giving out food in the community. And you know what? Like we love feedback. So like a lot of people have given us ideas through Snapchat for us to do in the community. So we want to do more things like that. I mean, we want to collaborate with other people. So if you got Snapchats that I should follow, if you guys are doing things that I should be a part of, I want to know. Because if I can make an impact, if we can make an impact, it's not just me. There's a lot of us, and I'll show you who's doing it. The main reason I wrote that blog was so people could know who's out there, like really looking out for people.
Mm-hmm. Cool, man.
And you one of them.
I appreciate you, man. You're right back at you. So check you out on Snapchat. Anything related to honor that people should know about, or should we?
I can't talk about honor, but for me personally, like we're gonna be scaling operations to a very large level and expect amazing things. And stay tuned, man. There's a lot of big announcements. Like Big Sean's "What a Year" is my anthem.
Yes.
Shout out to Mike Donahue, who's another one of our roommates, and Arthur and Timor. That's definitely our anthem. Listen to the lyrics in that song. That's what it's about.
What a year! What a year!
What a year! What a year!
I do have one last question. How did you think about like turning from a good salesperson to a world class?
It's very scientific. But it's also an art. There's a lot of there are a lot of things that are related to voice tone. There's a lot of things related to who's the decision maker, what's the budget, what's their pain. So I'm learning a lot about discovering pain. Because if you're focused on closing the whole time, they don't feel like they were heard. People want to be heard, and not just in sales. In life, people want to be heard. Once you hear them out, then you could give them a solution. Once you have that solution, then it's not even a close. They'll ask you how they could buy it. They'll ask you how they could move forward with the next steps. That's how it's supposed to be. So that's the biggest thing that I learned is like no pain, no sale. So don't waste their time either. So like you got to learn how to qualify. You got to learn how to sympathize. So that's another thing that I learned too is like sometimes if someone feeling down and they're explaining their pain to you and you say something like, you said the right words, you said, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to hear that." Anyway, so the next steps are you thought like and somebody's like they're giving you feedback on the phone call. They're like, "Hey, you could work on empathizing more." I'd be like, "I said I'm sorry." They're like, no. You gotta you gotta say, "Oh man, I completely understand. My father's an oncologist, or my childhood teacher also died from cancer, which is a true story, which is also something that affected me."
Mm-hmm.
You gotta really, really show them that you feel their pain. Then they'll open up, and not in a malicious way, like in a way that you really gotta care for them. And like you said, you feel the energy. People could hear a smile through the phone. My child teacher's wife taught me that. Smile, project that energy, just like when you walk in a room.
You can hear their smile through a phone.
You can hear a smile through the phone.
That's poetry.
You heard that, Soldier Boy.
Ruben, I gotta say it's been one of my favorite products on live chat.
I appreciate it, man. This is my first interview related to tech, so I'm really grateful to actually do it with you. If there's anything that I could do to support anything that you're doing, you know I'm here for you.
Well, I'm sorry that everyone else, every other interview is going to be.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
I'm just kidding. It's hard to match the chemistry.
I mean, I'm looking at the numbers, man. This is good. I like it.
Wait till it's released. Cool, man. Ruben, this has been it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being you. Everybody who's here, give it up for Ruben. Show him some love. Hit him up on follow his Snapchat. Hit him on Twitter, email, and stay tuned. I can't wait to see everything that's going to happen. And everybody's going to listen to this in a year from now or 2 years from now and be like, I knew it. I knew it.
100%. Let's go. Thanks, man.
I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
All right, bye.
Wow. That shit was real. Ruben, you're the man. Thank you, everybody, for coming through and watching. If you have any feedback, shout out Ruben on Twitter. Shout him out on Snapchat. Hit at Product Hunt. Hit at Eric Tornberg. Any things you want to see in these interviews, any other guests you want to see. Shout out to the whole Blab team that makes this possible, that supports, that watches, that just very, very good group of folks. Shout out to the Product Hunt team that makes this possible. And shout out to everyone who's watching. What a technology where you can have like such an intimate moment and like 30 people watching behind a screen. Isn't it crazy? Like this is this is a first. All right, awesome. Everybody have a great day. We have a full schedule of Product Hunt Live this week. I think we have one almost every single day. We open tomorrow at 10 a.m. With Shruti from Array Ventures. She's starting a fund. It's going to be fantastic. We have, let me check who we got this week. 1 second. We got Justin Beretta, who is the head of an HBO show called The Jinx, first director we've had on here. He's awesome. And then we have Jesse Williams on Friday, who is from is lead actor or one of the lead actors in Grey's Anatomy. Never seen Grey's Anatomy, but I'll get my reps up beforehand. And he is fascinating. We had dinner and he is doing a lot in social justice. He launched a new app called Ebroji, which is check it out. It was launched a product last week. It's very cool. Yes, Eric Willis hunted it, of course. If Eric Willis doesn't know about it, it hasn't been hunted. It is so a fantastic week. Okay, have a great rest of your day, everybody.